What's up, guys? This is Chris with $500 and an idea. Today I wanted to talk about what it means to have to build a team and the importance of that, and kind of the pitfalls that you have to look for when you're starting up an idea with 500 bucks. How you have to necessarily pivot or make a change in order to really meet your goals. So like I said, we started off with a very small amount of cash, very small runway, and we were just kind of selling as we went. And that produced a very complex problem for us in regards to building our team. Because what we knew is that we had an idea that was really, really big. And but what we were at the mercy of was, because of cash, we weren't able to build it to the scale that we required. So that's not a bad thing. You just have to understand where you sit in regards to building your product, right? So we kind of called that the pilot, or the prototype, if you will. And we used minimal funds to kind of use some junior development resources, some contractor resources, to be able to get the idea kind of stood up. And I look at it kind of almost like a primer of a paint. Right, you get the primer, full coverage on all the different touches of where the colors, and we're going to come back behind it and get the real color that we want. So it's very, very similar to that, because I used to always sit there thinking about how would my decisions be different if I had unlimited resources versus the resources that I did have. And there was always a pretty big disparity of how I should do something versus what I'm capable of doing with my current budgetary constraints. So we had to learn that through the very tough early years of Omnidek, where we started building the product, then we got it out to market, and then we were kind of cramped by the limitations of what it was going to be able to do. And now, through all of those trials, it forced us into the Shark Tank. It forced us into raising capital, and enough capital to be able to start doing things the right way with all the lessons learned, with all the lessons learned from the previous. And that's what we get today in our commercialized version. So what I want to talk to you about is finding the right team, and then getting out of their way to a degree, and let them be top performers. So what we do inside of our company is we have kind of this saying that, you know, there's no I in team, but there is an I in win. And when people are good at what they do, you got to give them the resources to be successful in whatever it's going to take. So that means getting them the right resources, getting them the right subordinate guys underneath them that are going to be able to allow them to reach their max potential, be able to have enough budget to be able to, if they make a recommendation, be able to act on that recommendation, right? And then trust the fact that those guys are top performers, and there's no one else that could do it any better than they can. And to our testament in Omnidek, we've got a fairly small team, about 10 people right now, but each one of them is absolute A players in whatever their facet of the game is. And because it started off with just kind of a part-time junior developer, you can appreciate the maturity of where we are now. So what I wanted to do is just to kind of highlight the value of having a top performing team, especially a team that's meshed well together, that everyone knows every aspect of the software, they understand where their role is, but also where that role supports the other aspects of the software or the company, and where their role fits. It's a tremendously heartwarming thing for an entrepreneur, because you've seen it from the depths or the early stages of it, and now you start to see maturity. And once you now have a team that's competent and that can handle anything, you've got a product that can scale however big and however dynamic, and you've got a clear pathway of getting new features into the application that are building upon solid foundations. That's where you know that you've got the right recipe for success.